Are you any good? Well, what's that about? Did you choose to do that, or did somebody pick that for you? And I just hold pressure. You need to be able to challenge people. And I do this all the time with guys as well. Last year at the PUA Summit, a guy came up to me after the talk and said, man, I really liked your talk. And I said, what did you like about it? I'm not doing that to be an arsehole. I'm doing that because that gives him a chance to engage deeply with what actually, because if I just said, thanks, man, so what? I want to make sure he's got it. He's like, and he's holding the pressure. He's like, oh, the guru's looking at me funny. And then he goes, the thing that you were talking about intent really resonated with me and actually changed my perspective on game completely. I'm like, fuck yes, excellent. Yeah. When you challenge people, you're actually doing them and you a favor. Being so fucking polite actually means that you don't actually have real connections with people. Trying to make sure that the boat is never rocked means that you just sail past each other. You don't actually make clear connections. I'm about the intensity of the relationships that I have with people. That's why a girl that I sleep with once in a country, and it's one thing, it's really easy to have 10 girlfriends in 10 countries, much easier than 10 girlfriends in one country. You guys should keep that in mind. And EasyJet. Seriously, dudes, why are you spending your weekends here? I'm serious. If you're spending, £100 getting pissed in London, why not spend that on a cheap flight over to fucking Budapest, where you can live like a king and meet much, much hotter women and have awesome sex with them and then set up a girl in every city? Come on, let's think bigger here. This is lifestyle design. You want to be able to have friends and lovers and interesting experiences waiting for you all around the world. I do it from Australia, I put in the effort. You guys, it's not an effort at all. Get out there and explore this world. It's much bigger than this one city, than your one social scene. Which brings me very, very briefly to lifestyle design, which is a massive topic. I can't get too far into it. But what I want you guys to think about is what is the ideal lifestyle and who are the people in it that you want to have? And think big. And you should sit down and have a think about this. I get guys to do a social inventory. Write 3 columns: Facebook friends, contenders, inner circle. And list every single person that you know within those 3 categories. What I mean by Facebook friends is people that are acquaintances that you know the name of. Contenders are people who've come into your life that you share some commonalities with, that you would like to continue something with, but you haven't got a really solid connection. And your inner circle, which is generally fairly small and static, are the people that you can always rely on. These are your long-term friends and your family, your ex-girlfriends if you treated them well, and so on. What you want to do to create an amazing lifestyle is your acquaintances come and go, and they're not actually going to help you much in life. You need to get people into this middle column where they care about you and you care about them. Now, how do you make a deep connection, or how do you make a deep alliance with somebody? I'll answer it rhetorically. James? You do this by creating debts and favours between you. You guys have all had those friends where maybe you work together on a Friday night, you go out and you have a beer, and then when you shift jobs, you never see that person again. You got no real connection because you made no investment and they made no investment in return. When I want to make a deep connection with somebody, I meet someone, I do one of 4 things. I ask, I offer, I trade, or I collaborate. Yeah? I will deliberately put myself in debt to somebody. I'll go and ask a favour out of them, and then I'll make sure that I pay them back. Because this trade, and I call this the seductive economy, which is a much bigger topic, but we touch on it, is what creates links between people. If I was to walk up to one of you guys now, I don't have any money in my pocket, so I can't do it, and said, here's £10, most people wouldn't take it. They'd be like, ooh, what is that? Because nothing's free. We're suspicious of people trying to give stuff for free. Whereas if I went up and said, if you go like this, I'll give you £10. You'd be like, that's stupid, but that's a fair deal. I'll do that. That's worth 2 seconds of my time. And it would make sense, right? So what I'm often doing with the people that I really want to connect with is I'm asking favours for them, or I'm giving them something and then demanding something in return. And I do this in seduction all the time. Yeah? If a girl ever comes and asks me for a cigarette, I say, what tricks have you got? Let's do a deal. And I don't care what it is. And often they can't think of anything. I said, all right, give me a sexy dance. And they will. Yeah? And then I'm not that idiot that's just giving stuff away. the girl comes and says, if she ever says, oh, you want to buy me a drink? I said, maybe. What are you trading on? What do we got here? Can you moonwalk? Can you knit? Can you cook? What's it worth? Because when you trade with someone, it creates respect and trust. When you give stuff away for free all the time, then it lowers your value. You know, people don't respect. That's why nice guys are actually creepy, because they're always giving stuff away for free. They're giving their time. They're giving a shoulder to cry on. They are, you know, buying girls stuff or whatever else it is, not asking anything in return, but really, the girl knows she's accruing a debt, that he's saving up for a time where he's going to kind of sneakily go, actually, I wrote you this poem. I've been in love with you for 4 years. Yeah, that's actually creepy, and it's a lie. Whereas the out and proud Aussie leaner, it comes in and goes, this is all about the root, is quite clear about what the trade is. Yeah. So what I suggest to you guys is that in your interactions with girls and with people in general, is that you trade with them. Yeah, you have to expect stuff out of people in return for what you give. And you need to do that on a personal level to value your own time, who you are. And I'm not saying be mercenary about it, you know, like working out every cent on a coffee with somebody or anything like that. Keep in mind there are multiple currencies being traded at all times. In your lifestyle, you need to be able to trade different things. There's a guy here who's putting me up for the week. It costs him $0. He's got a couch. I get to sleep on it. That doesn't cost him anything. But for me, that's really valuable because that saves me £100 a night of having to be in a small, expensive London hotel. And I get the experience of hanging out in a house in London, which is more fun than being in a hotel. So I owe him, and I know that. Yeah? What you want to get to the point of is if you want to have an amazing lifestyle, is you want to have a currency that's worth a lot to other people and cheap for you to give away. So in the situation, I suggest that you guys do trade on stuff that's easy to give away. Just throw it out there and then expect stuff back in return. Because then I come home after this and I'll sit down with him and I'll give him some fucking amazing seduction advice, which is cheap for me to give away, but very, very valuable for him. And in that way, we become friends and we bond because we took a risk on each other. So what I want you guys to do is think about what is your ideal lifestyle? Do you know these people? And if not, step back a notch and go, who knows these people? You guys want to hang out with models and have sex with them maybe? Some people do, let's say. You don't know any models. Who do you know that knows models? Who knows models? Photographers, makeup artists, promoters, all sorts of people. And then you can target these people. If you don't know them, then you step back another level and you start targeting them. And you may think, well, what have I got to offer these people? At the end of the day, the thing that's worth the most, the currency that's most valued on this planet, is human emotion and the exchange of it. If you can look somebody clearly in the eye, if you can ask them how they feel about stuff, what's really important to them, you can engage with them on the emotional level, then they love you. Then they want to be around you. Then they respect you. You do this with women, which is why, I mean, so many guys stay on details, right? They ask detailed questions. Anytime you're collecting facts in a conversation with a girl, it's bad. If you're learning something, it's bad. All right? How many, how long, this kind of thing. When I sat down with those girls the other day, I said, okay, so you guys are studying. And they're like, yeah, and they're getting ready for me to say, and what are you studying? And what year are you in? And detail. And I said, are you guys good students? Do you procrastinate? Are you lazy? And they're like, what? Because I'm immediately taking a topic, which is the study, and getting down to how they relate to the topic in terms of who they are as a person. That's what I'm always doing. When I'm picking a topic, if I've had a long conversation about the topic, the third person topic, then that's not a good interaction. I only ever use the topic as a bouncing off point to find out about what kind of person they are. So whenever you ask a question about a topic, it's fine. You can ask a question about a normal topic. You can ask, what do you do? I don't like to, but you can. And she says, I'm an accountant, whatever. She says, I'm in advertising. I'll immediately say, do you love it, or are you doing it for the money? Something like that. And then she says, yeah, I'm doing it for the money. I'm like, you cold-hearted bitch. All right, awesome. So when you have all that money, how are you going to spend it? The job was only ever a doorway to me to find out about how she operates as a person. Yeah. Okay, so I want to open it up for questions in a moment. But I want you guys to just keep these key points in mind. It starts with awareness. Put your mind in your feet. Whenever the excuses come up, any of this stuff that's going on, buzzing around in your head, you can't think your way out of it. Don't try to. Just allow yourself to feel what's going on within your body, and anytime those words of judgment come up, change them to just descriptive words. What does it actually feel like without a judgmental meaning on top of it? Project your intent. Whenever you see the girl, because the approach starts well before, often before she's even seen you. Yeah, it's certainly well before you've opened your mouth, because if you're thinking about it and you haven't figured out your intent, by the time you get up to her, she's felt that negative pressure, and people want to get away from weirdness and awkwardness. Yeah? Whereas if it's like, feel my feet, want to fuck you, and I'm walking up and I'm just feeling and present, that's when magic really happens. That's where you have those movie moments where the girl's like, what is that? Because they don't get to feel that very often. They don't get to feel men coming up with that kind of presence. It's not so difficult to do. It's actually much simpler than trying to have some convoluted game plan. When you get into your conversations, make sure you're challenging her on many levels. And I don't mean being a dickhead about it. Don't just, yeah, whatever, oh yeah. Don't stack challenges. And a challenge can be anything from a raised eyebrow, so she gives you an answer and you're like, or just silence, because when you hold silence, people tend to fill it, through to a really simple and soft challenge like, why? Well, what's that? Tell me more about that. What's behind that? You'll have to explain. Right through to if you've got a girl with heavy attitude, and you're like, what's cool about you? She's like, I'm a dominatrix, I could beat the shit out of you. And we're like, fuck you, you're lying. Don't mess with me. I will need to challenge her on that level. Yeah, because if I do a soft challenge on her, it's not going to work there. Whereas if I do that to the nice girl, I'm like, what's interesting about you? She's like, I like dancing. Fuck you, you're lying. She's just going to cry, right? That's why I use a lot of silence. I don't speak very much. I'm a very low energy seducer, and a lot of guys who get into this are introverted and low energy, and that's totally fine. In fact, in my opinion, seduction tends to happen in low energy. It's when things tone down but heat up.